Welcome to the Media Bubble Podcast. It's a podcast that talks about all geeky media related topics. I'm Karol and he's Fredrik. So let's get the show on the road.
Yeah, and welcome to this episode where we're going to talk about 10 films released 2022. Because 2022 has just been over and I thought it would be fun to see some of the films from that year, I guess.
Yeah, honestly, I was kind of surprised of how many movies that I haven't seen released in 2022.
Oh, I could have added more on this list to be obvious, but 10 was already stretching it, I almost feel like.
Yeah, I think it will take us like a full year to just go through the movies from the last year.
Yeah, there was one other film that I wanted to include on this list, The Babylon, but that has had kind of a late release here in Sweden, so not really that possible.
Yeah. So we're gonna have to skip on Babylon, which I just found out has a 3-hour runtime.
Well, how fun.
Yeah, thank God.
Okay, let's also get this out of the way. Spoiler warning, we're going to talk pretty freely about every film, I think.
Yes, and also this episode will be split into two, where we will cover 5 in each one, in each of them.
Yeah. So I think that was everything to go over. Do you want to start?
Sure. So let's follow your slides. This is a very nice graphic, by the way, which you have made for the episode.
Yeah, this first one is probably the thing that I have done the least, to be honest.
But the first movie that we'll discuss is Triangle of Sadness.
Yeah, directed by Ruben Östlund.
Yeah, and you can see the Swedish influence, the Swedish language, just a lot of those details in the movie.
Yeah,
which is really fun for us.
Yeah, there's kind of a lot of background Swedish talking.
Triangle of Sadness follows a story of our main character and his girlfriend, at least in Act 1. The main character is a supermodel who was talk of the town a few years back, but now he struggles to get work because he's not considered as handsome anymore, which is dumb. We follow also his girlfriend, Yaya, who is the talk of the town, as she is the supermodel that just recently modeled for like an equivalent to Balenciaga. They have relationship troubles, and they end up being on this luxurious yacht with all the other rich, snobby 1%ers. And all hell breaks loose.
Yeah. I gotta be honest, I did not really know a lot of things about this film before I watched it. Firstly, when I watched it, I was kind of thinking, is this a film with a lot of awkward conversation? Because the first kind of real scene that the film focus on, I feel like, is when the couple has dinner, and they are kind of discussing who should pay, and it's kind of just some awkward looks because I guess no one of them really wanted to pay. Yeah. So apparently Yaya has not been very fair towards what was his name? The name of the character. Let's see. His name was Karl.
Yeah. So Karl is usually the one paying for dinner, and his girlfriend is very dismissive. She makes her makeup. She talks on the phone. She doesn't really like spend time with him at the restaurant.
Yeah,
I feel like
she kind of also says a little bit later that she's very manipulating.
Because she kind of is. it all boils down to that Carl is a wuss who rarely stands because he stood up for himself after the cab driver told him to.
Mm.
But since there was no one to tell him on the island that he should also stand up for himself, he just end up doing the worst stuff imaginable.
Yeah, no, I guess none of these are really good people, to be honest.
They are not. Along along with Yaya and Carl, we also have some other characters. Namely, we have the Russian manure magnate and his wife and his side piece or his daughter. I don't remember. I was so confused.
I was a bit confused over that also because it kind of was, from what I can understand, it was his wife and his lover.
Yeah.
I think.
Which was this supposed to show how absurd the rich are, even if they come from humble beginnings?
Yeah, it definitely was supposed to show how absurd rich can be. Like one of the things from the film that he always kind of pointed in your face, the director, is this word that, oh, everyone is equal. And it was kind of weird because the most people that said that were the rich people. And they say it in scenes that very clearly shows,
that they're not.
Yeah, and everyone is not equal.
Yeah, and you can also see this this difference when we enter the ship. It's called the second act, the yacht, and we have the rich people on the top being served by the cabin crew, which are just screaming money, 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 money. And then we shift to the next floor below, and we see just all these people minding their business because it's their job.
I remember specifically one scene where one of the guests is trying to even show how much of an equal mind she is. So she forces one of the people that works there, because the people that works there are kind of forbidden to say no to anything. So she forces her to take a bath in the pool to show how much of an equal mind she is. And then she forces everyone else that works on that boat to take a swim in the sea.
Because they're all so equal, so she can just force them to do whatever she wants.
Yeah.
As equals, I suppose.
That scene, I feel is... I feel like both of us can kind of somewhat relate to that, because we have both worked in
customer service.
Yeah, customer service, and yeah, you're kind of always supposed to have that mindset. Oh, the customer is right, and we should be
like, you should make him pleasant.
We should serve them even in the most absurd moments.
Exactly. And with this, and already with that, like, thought behind what we do, there's already this imbalance that we're not equal, that the customers is above us, which is also shown in this movie. And I want to actually point out, because it's clever, because this scene where everybody goes to take a dive because one of the customers demanded it, that's the reason why everybody got sick from the food.
Yeah, because the chef tells that the food will be bad in that case if everyone takes a swim.
Yeah, and they just they just let it happen. Like, sure, like, let everybody be sick. And I suppose that's why so few people react during the dining scene, where the captain is drunk, the food is bad, everyone is puking up, there's a storm going on. Is it because they don't want to trouble the guests?
Yeah, I guess. When you were finished with this film, what did you feel about it? Did you like it? What were your thoughts?
I liked how it showed everyone, like, pretty much almost everyone being a jerk.
Yeah.
And
even the lower class were jerks in this film. Like they didn't escape it either. They were also jerks.
Yeah, everybody was a jerk. But I was also thinking, there's two scenes that stand out for me. and both of them happen in the third act. So one scene was where just all of the rich people, maybe a pirate or someone working in the machine room, and this one lady who worked on the lower decks, and they all find themselves stranded. And only the lady who worked for all of them is forced to make fire, find food, cater to them. And the rich people just sit on the beach and expect to be served to and to be rescued.
Yeah.
In this life-threatening situation.
Yeah, they were taking it kind of easy, like, well, there are people looking for us.
Like, are you sure? Are you sure?
Or how are they going to find you, you expect?
Exactly, as they also have used all the flares, which they were not supposed to. And then the second scene that really took me was at the end of the movie, and this is heavy spoilers. So we learn as Yaya and the service lady, what was her name?
Abigail, I think.
Yeah, so Abigail and Yaya are venturing away from the camp to see if they can find anything else. And we learn that the island they ended up on is actually like a resort. So there were people here. They stayed in one spot, not moving, not looking for anything else, for God knows how many days, and they find the resort just right there.
Yeah, you kind of realize that at some point of, have you just been staying in that one place?
Yeah, which just reinforces this idea that these rich people are too pampered for their own survival. And what also is great, because I was thinking about why Abigail, because we don't see what happens at the end. It's a cliffhanger. We see Carl running through the forest, getting his face all massacred, destroying his livelihood. We see Yaya being threatened by a rock by Abigail, and she says like, "Oh, baby Abigail, I can like after we done with here, I can help you. I can like you can be my assistant." And we don't know, and I don't know if we don't see if Abigail killed Yaya or not.
No, the last scene of the movie is Carl running in the forest.
Yeah, so I'm thinking like, did Abigail know all this time that this is a resort?
Well, I'm not sure if she knew, but once she found out, that she kind of weirdly likes being on the island, because she kind of becomes the leader of the group and the one that gets and the one that gets respect in some way, because that was kind of one other thing that happened on the island, where she was the lower class, but on that island she became the high class.
Yeah, and I was thinking, why did that happen? And this is the exact scenario where this could have happened. In like, once everybody goes back, Abigail has got back. Like, she goes back to her shitty job. She doesn't have a hot boyfriend to bang. She's not the matron of the whole group. Yeah. So she is stand to lose it all if she lets these people escape.
There's also that possibility of Yaya is said to be really good at
manipulating.
Why can't I say that word anyway? People. So it is a possibility that she also tricks Abigail in the end of the film, but as I said, the film kind of just ends there. There isn't really a proper ending in some way.
Which I think is to the film's credit, since it made me think about all of it, all of the runtime. Like, what is the most possible option? And there's many. Okay, the kitty is gone. Let's talk about the next movie.
Well, I kind of wanted to say something about the Triangle of Sadness still. Triangle of Sadness is... I'm not exactly sure how I feel about it yet. I haven't exactly figured out. I feel like I like the first two acts more than the third. I felt like the first two were more memorable for me, even though the third was alright too. So I'm not... There's a lot of symbolism in this film, and a lot of the talk about class and everything, and I think the experience was good and interesting in the end, but yeah, it was an all right to great film, I guess.
Yeah. And I think I agree with you, actually, in a lot of ways. Especially on the part where the first and second act, they were really memorable, but it kinda didn't keep up the pace in the third and the last act.
One of the scenes that I weirdly also remember is right in the beginning where there's an interviewer interviewing male models, and he kind of is talking about how the different brand and how you look at because Karl kind of is where when Karl is supposed to model for the rich band, he's supposed to look down on the customer, and when it's a cheap brand like H&M, it's kind of, oh, now there's a lot of guys together and you're supposed to look happy and include.
Yeah, save the future, hashtag green earth, hashtag act now.
I just thought that was a fun scene.
It was, and I also remember it.
Well, anyway, let's get on to the next film, which is The Northman.
Yes, and out of all the movies in this episode, this is the single one I haven't seen, actually.
I thought you said that there was another film you hadn't seen.
Out of the 5 movies in this episode.
Oh, okay. Now I understand. Let's see. So I guess I'm going to explain a little bit of The Northman to you in that case. Let's see. The Northman is a Viking revenge story. Let's see. So Alexander Skarsgård is portraying Amit, who is a Viking warrior who, in the beginning of the film, we see him as a kid and how his uncle kills his father and takes his mother away from him, so he escapes from that Viking village, and later on in the film there's a time skip, and we see him now with another Viking village, plundering some Baltic seas.
All right.
And I guess enough time has changed for him to finally start to think about getting his revenge on his uncle. And his uncle apparently had lost the original Viking village, which I think was supposed to be in some place in Norway, which is kind of always the thing with Viking TV series.
These kind of shows. Yeah.
It's always Norway for some reason.
Never Sweden.
Or Denmark. Always Denmark. Norway.
No, Denmark has crime dramas.
Yeah, but I was talking specifically about Vikings TV series and movies. Well, anyway, so apparently his uncle and his mother is somewhere in Iceland, so he travels there, and he for some reason, even though he's a Viking, he makes himself look like one of the slaves that are taken in by this his uncle, and he kind of is a slave throughout the film and obeys orders until it's the perfect time for him to get his revenge, you can say. And there's a lot of strange also imagery in this film, like you can probably see on these 3 pictures that this Viking has a lot of strange visions, you can say.
Oh, okay.
And that is one thing that is recurrent in this film, is his strange or strange visions in general. And to be honest, that was kind of the most memorable thing about this film, because this Viking revenge story is really drawn out. Like you are feeling like it kind of takes forever for something to happen.
How long is the runtime on the Northman?
Let's see. It's apparently 136 minutes.
So it's actually one of the shorter movies on our list.
Yeah, but it feels like one of the longer ones.
But do you think the movie benefits from the slower pace?
In some way it does. Yeah, like it still feels like a good movie. And it's very apparent that it's kind of what the director intended it for to be. So in that way it has succeeded, but for me and my personal taste, it was a little bit too slow.
I can see it. If he pretends to be a slave and becomes a slave, and then it's just he waits for the opportunity.
Yeah, it's kind of also that he has this vision of how he's going to kill his uncle. So he kind of can't just go and kill him. He has to wait for the perfect opportunity.
So he has to follow like the script. But
yeah.
Why? What will happen if he doesn't?
I have no idea. Maybe he can't go to Valhalla or something like that.
All right. So the plan just came to him in a dream, and he just decided, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah. The one of the standout scenes for me in this film is when he finally confronts his mother in the film and tells him, "Oh, I'm your son," and that scene doesn't go too well for him, because it turns out that his mother was kind of
on the killing of his father.
Yeah, exactly. And she wouldn't really mind to kill him too, her own son. So it's kind of one of the scenes where it kind of tells a different story, I guess, about his father, because she kind of felt like his father was a dick. But in the scenes that we saw, he was a loving father to his son. So it's kind of like this, I guess, different viewpoints, you can say.
Yeah, I can see it too. Like, since he was a kid and a son, he didn't see all the bad stuff his father did to his mom.
Yeah. I can also tell you that in the final battle of this film, both he and his uncle dies in kind of this Icelandic volcano. And the last scene is, I actually have the last imagery somewhat featured in this film. It kind of like the last picture on this screen. You see that the female warrior, she is kind of riding on a horse into Valhalla, you can say. That's kind of how the film ended.
So, in your opinion, what would you give this movie? Like, out of 10?
Well, if I'm going to be critical about it and have a critical view, then maybe it's between an 8 or 9 in that case. But if I'm just going to say my personal view, it's a 5 or 6. Like I said, I just felt like it was a bit too slow.
I see. It felt that way as you spoke about it.
Yeah, it kind of just at some point it feels like there's not a lot of things really happening here, and some of the scenes feels really drawn out. Well, to the next film then, I guess.
To the next movie. So the third one that we will be talking about is Strange World, that released on Disney Plus and is an animated movie.
Yeah, it's the Walt Disney Animation's latest animated film, which is kind of the main reason why I wanted to talk about it, because I'm kind of a huge animation Disney fan, and this was the latest film, so I had some interest in it in that perspective. This film hasn't done so well, unfortunately, but yeah. What did you think of it, Carol?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Surprisingly, I liked it a lot.
yeah, I was kind of surprised by that fact too. It's a surprisingly uh,
Touching story.
good movie. Because it's not a film. It's kind of a more relaxing adventure type of film in some way.
Yeah, I think that's a good description because you never this is a movie about just three generations of a family trying to navigate their conflicts. But you never and they are in a strange world as the title says, but you never feel like any one of them is actually like in danger of dying.
I actually remember when I watched the first two trailers of this film, and the first trailer is kind of like showing the main character. Is shown this new strange world, and he isn't from there. And that trailer I felt was really interesting. Then they showed the second trailer, and I became less interested in it because it suddenly shows this it's a family drama, and it isn't that he has for some reason come to this strange world, but he has traveled himself into it. I don't know, I just found that the first trailer was more interesting than the second.
I have been lucky enough to have not seen any of the trailers before seeing this movie.
Yeah, but as I said, it's a it's a good movie. I wouldn't really say that
It's not revolutionary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a nice little movie. It isn't really. I don't really feel like it's trying to be something bigger, and it doesn't succeed in that way too.
Can I say, you know what it reminded me of?
What?
What was the movie? Treasure Planet.
Yeah, in some ways, I guess.
I think it was the airplanes or just the general vibe of it being so because a lot of it is just this is a world that has flying airships, just a lot of things are flying, and it also has this family centric story here about just this father, this kid, and the grandpa not getting along. In Treasure Planet, it was about what was his name?
Oh,
the main character.
Oh, his father left him.
Yeah, but there was this found family theme about like the big guy taking care of the main character.
Yeah, it kind of became a little bit of a father figure.
Exactly.
Yeah, that has some similarity now when you talk about it.
Yeah, like the themes of family and a little bit of aesthetic.
Yeah, the themes of 3 generations, I guess.
Can I say how much I actually appreciated them just saying like just trying this story about family problems and their fathers becoming like their fathers.
Yeah, and so in some way it does, because you kind of notice that they have a lot of similarities to each other.
Yeah, like it's been pointed out in the movie that they are almost the same person.
Let's see. Yeah, there is some points in the film where the father, who is the main character, kind of has to confront himself of, oh, I'm kind of doing the thing that I hated that my father did to me, and suddenly also in this strange world with these strange creatures, you're kind of at some point discovering some kind of a team along the way, and you kind of find out what exactly is happening to this strange world, and it kind of becomes this environment film about how we as a human race kind of are destroying our own planet.
Yeah, I mean, our planet may not be like a living. Well, it is living. There's a lot of living things on our planet.
Living turtle.
It's not a living turtle per se, but we are killing our planet. How long did it take you to figure out the twist?
Let's see.
That panda was like a virus. That it was cancer.
Well, to be honest, it took me a while because I wasn't really trying to figure it out. If I had been trying to figure out it, it probably would have taken me a bit faster. But one of the biggest clues, I guess, was when they were going through this toxic river, which kind of had a lot of similarities to our own kind of
stomach acid.
Yeah, but I gotta say, when I really kind of figured it out was probably when they came to the heart.
Really? Because for me, I already started having second doubts about this whole place since like the moment they crashed on the strange world.
Yeah, but as I said, I wasn't really trying to figure it out. I was kind of just trying to enjoy the ride.
Seems fair, actually. Because as we said, this isn't like there are action scenes, but it is a relaxing family centric movie.
Well, if I'm being to be honest, the film was better than I was expecting before going into it. Because I hadn't that I didn't have that highest hope, you can say, because the film unfortunately hasn't done that well in theater, and it has gotten some very ordinary reviews too. Like the reviews are like 5 or 6 out of 10. So I was kind of pleasantly surprised by it, because yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why, as I said, I haven't seen any trailers and I haven't even looked at the reviews before seeing it. And I think that was the reason why I enjoyed this movie so much. Because I had no previous preconceptions about it.
Mm. Well, I guess that was kind of our opinion on Strange World. Let's go to the next film then.
Yeah, but last word, I'd recommend you see it, especially if you have like a little kid.
Yeah, it's a fun movie still.
Okay, next up,
see
how they run.
See How They Run, which is a movie that I remembered at a time where I watched the original trailer, and I thought it was this funny, quirky detective story, and I kind of remembered that trailer, and I guess that's why I wanted to include it on this list.
Yeah, and I'm glad you did, since I have Disney Plus now. However adamant I was about not getting it, and I've seen this movie plastered all over the website, and I haven't clicked on it, but it was so good. This is the anti-murder mystery, in my opinion.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a mystery film, and it's police detective work with 2 cops. One kind of older cop who has done this for a while, and he's kind of tired at certain points, and one cop that is new and full of energy.
Yes, so the new cop was called Constable Stalker, and what was the name of the main character of the detective? Let me see.
Well, let's see. Inspector Stoppard.
Yeah, so Stoppard and and Constable Stalker, and this, if you haven't seen what the movie is about, we have 2 detectives on the scene on the 100th run of the theatrical run of The Mousetrap, which is a real play that plays in real world, and you can go see it. in London.
Yeah, it's based on Agatha
Agatha Christie.
Christie book.
Yeah.
Which is also very pointed out in the film.
I mean, we see Agatha Christie in the movie.
Yeah, she's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I did not expect that. I think they were just gonna like go around and like, oh, she's just off screen and you can't see her, or oh, she's in the kitchen. But they actually showed her, which was amazing.
Mm.
And they arrive at the scene and they see that the film director for the Mousetrap, the movie, which was about to go on in production, he's dead, and they have suspects here at the theater, and they have to try to figure out who killed him and why they killed him.
Yeah, so it kind of starts out as a normal detective film, and the two detective, there's a lot of people to suspect, and we're going through them one by one, and at some point the new cop is kind of starting to
suspect Mr. Stoppard.
Yeah, Mr. Stoppard, which in some ways is kind of unique in a mystery film, because that's a twist that I haven't really felt have been entirely explained. Is if it is the detective?
If it is the inspector.
Yeah.
We cannot talk today. We are both stumbling over our words.
Yeah, I'm noticing that. Like this is getting embarrassing. Yeah, which is a twist that I haven't really seen explored yet, and the film kind of explores it in some way. It isn't the main detective. Fast question: the one that is the villain and the one that has been killing people, did you figure out who that was before the reveal?
I had suspicions, but I could not figure it out.
I figured it out, and my suspicion also were proven right in one scene, because there is a scene in this movie where they are sitting and watching the Mousetrap, and at some point while the Mousetrap is going on in the theater, the people are running out. Some people are running out of the theater, and in the background you can see the main villain also running out, but it isn't as pointed out on the screen. It's kind of in the background.
But he's running away as the people are exiting. How did you figure out that was different from just regularly running away?
Yeah, because that is kind of one of the things in mystery film, is that you always want to show clues of the one who did it, but not actually enough clues for. Yeah, and that was kind of just one thing of they're showing that he is also running out of this theater at the same time as the other ones, but when the stuff actually happens on the outside, he isn't shown to be there.
Oh, because I had suspicions, so I think we're doing a good job for not spoiling who the killer is, which I approve of. So let's continue. I had suspicions for the main killer when we see the first moment when Detective Stoppard is like knocked out by Miss Stalker, because it felt so weird for the outfits to be so specific. I was running my head why, and then we also like it felt just so pointed out, like why this. And I was trying to do the Benoit Blanc method of trying to see who has a motive and who had an opportunity.
Yeah.
And almost everyone had it. It didn't help me at all. It was not until the end, when the main villain begins to say why he did it, it clicked for me.
Yeah. Actually, the main motivation of the villain I didn't really understand until he explained it too.
But I think that was the point. Seeing that this movie is also based on the Mousetrap, and in that theater play, it is kind of the point that the main bad guy tells you his motivation, because it was supposed to be this anti-murder mystery, uh, because Agatha Christie felt that she was locked in the formula that she made popular.
In the beginning of the film, where the film director is having a bit of a monologue, it almost feels like, the film wants to talk about this old mystery trends, and how this film maybe is above that. And in some ways it is, but in many ways it isn't.
Yeah, it nicely subverts the tropes, I feel. Also, can I just talk about the details?
Yeah.
Because I really started to enjoy this movie once it clicked for me that the playwright, what was his name? Let me see. Um, bum 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 bum. Mervyn Cocker Norris. And we see the scene because as the movie progresses, we learn that the filmmaker and the playwright were making a script for the movie of the Mousetrap, and they couldn't agree, and they started filming at the script writer's home, Marvin's home, and I had this instant I had this in the back of my mind. Wait, I've seen this place before, and they also shown the outside of his house, and it's the same building where Hercule Poirot used to live in his series.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's the same house. I think
Wait
it was
a
the
second.
windows.
Are you a huge Hero fan?
I've seen a lot of
Or
episodes,
Poirot?
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And also because detective asks Marvin specifically, "Oh, which part of France do you come from?" "I'm Belgian, just like Poirot, and he lives in the same place."
Oh, yeah, right.
And I've also read that when Mr. Stapler,
Yeah, Mr. Stapler.
when he lies to Constable Soccer that he goes to the dentist, she goes and and we see all the names of the dentists as she begins to push the buttons. These are all the names from characters from Agatha Christie novels on the doorbells.
Oh, that's a really cool detail, actually.
Yeah, that's when this movie won me over.
Yeah, so it's a interesting movie. When talking about this movie with you, I kind of almost feel like it has gotten a little bit better for me. Like it was a good movie, and I always felt that I felt like it could be a little bit slow at certain points. But anyway, really good fun detective film, I guess.
Yeah, and if you want to see who did it, then you should go and see it.
Yeah. And to the next film and the last film for our episode, or part one at least.
And the longest one of them all.
Avatar: The Way of Water, which we saw in the theaters. What was it, 1 week ago, Carol?
Yeah, it's been 1 week now that I think about it.
And let's see. What we kind of expected from this film is kind of what we, I guess, got. It was a really nice visually, but the story was kind of like a bit meh.
Yeah, I felt, I don't know, I didn't expect much of the story of Avatar anyway.
Yeah, not really me either. I was expecting more of a visual experience.
Yeah, because even if there was story, it's more like blocks being put to set up the story for the next ones.
Mm.
Because we know there will be more. We know there is already the third and fourth in production. We already have release dates.
Yeah, there was one specific character that was very set up for the rest of the films.
Yeah. In your opinion, which one was that?
Let's see. It was what was her name? Uh, that doesn't make it easier. Kiri Sully, the one played by Sigourney Weaver.
I'm so sorry I made you look it up.
I felt that character was very, or felt very much like she was set up for the future films.
Yeah, a lot of things were set up. But before we get into that, can we just talk about the premise? So, okay, we knew that humans were coming back to Pandora. We learned that from the trailers, it was obvious. But the stuff that this movie just glosses over in the first 10 or 15 minutes of the movie, like, yeah, so humans left, but not everyone left. And the main bad guy from the last movie, he had a child and he couldn't travel back, so now he's also like part of the Na'vi tribe, but not really. And also, the scientist who died in the last movie, well, she had a baby while also kind of being dead, and we adopted that baby. And it's just like, wait, what?
Yeah, and the main villain is back, but not really, because he is still dead. But they transported his mind into an avatar body.
Not even that. It's not even his mind. It's just the memory. So he's a clone.
Yeah.
And
I don't understand why they even brought him back, because in the original film, he wasn't really that interesting of a villain.
no, he wasn't. He was just like this. How do you say it in English? Like, he was just like, yeah, I'm the army guy. I will kill all the natives. Let me go at him, chief.
Yeah, kind of. And I guess for James Cameron, he was like, that's the perfect villain to bring back.
Okay, maybe it's because. Okay, so in this movie, the sergeant, the main bad guy, he plays this foil to Jake. Since after becoming a Na'vi, just like him, he also tames a flying beast. He also learns the Na'vi language, but he still continues. But he does all of these like Na'vi cultural milestones, but he doesn't participate in the culture. He's still like the dog of the army.
Yeah.
That's my only guess for why he's here.
Let's say, yeah, the main character Jake in this film, he's kind of sidelined by his kids in many ways, because he doesn't really feel like he's in the proper main character of this film.
No, he's not.
I'm
sorry.
That role kind of feels more like one of his sons.
I think his kids in general, even though, like, I say it, but yeah, either his son or his adoptive daughter, because a lot of them don't really get that much screen time.
Yeah, one of the sons clearly gets the bigger end of the deal, because he has a love interest, he has a friendship with a whale, he's the one that he gets in trouble with his father.
Yeah, he's the one who has the problem with his brother, that he's not good enough, like inferiority complex.
Can we just say that when we went out of the cinema, we both were confused about which one of the brothers was the love interest. Because we both were thinking for a while that it was the big brother.
Yeah, but then you remember, what did the big brother do in this movie?
Not much.
Not much. He like punched the bullies that bullied his sister.
Yeah.
That's the end. I don't remember anything else.
Yeah, he was. As we said, the spoilers. He dies. And,
yeah.
And the thing is, he was kind of almost the worst person to kill off, because he was the one that we had interacted the least with, so that emotional feeling wasn't really there when he died.
Like, it almost feels like he was kept alive to give guilt to his younger brother for the next movies.
Yeah, exactly.
And speaking on screen time, let's talk about the littlest sister. Like, I think she was treated mostly like a plot device for her older siblings and her parents to rescue.
Yeah, maybe.
Because during like the movie, we see her being captured three separate times. The first one when they visit the old lab in the woods where they all avatared. Then we have the same they get caught again at the ship. Then they leave and then they get caught again, and then that's it.
Well, in some ways, I also feel like it's one of the weird points in this film is Spider, who is kind of part of their family and kind of not. He gets kidnapped in this film and is taken by his military father dad, or his memories. And
we don't even know anymore.
Yeah, and the family, or the Avatar family, they don't try to rescue him at any point in this film. They're kind of like, sucks to be you, Spider.
Yeah, he's gone. Well, whatever.
Yeah, it's kind of like this thing of them kind of talking about that he is their friend and he's kind of part of this family, and once he's kidnapped, it's like, yeah, we're just going to ignore that. Like, have fun with your dad.
Yeah, can we also talk about dads? Because there's this theme that they really try to hint on throughout this movie, like a father protects,
His
yada
tribe.
yada yada, and like they try to give this motivation to Jake that, oh, he's a father now, he's like a king now, and he has to take responsibility because people are chasing him. And then he leaves his post as like the leader of the Na'vi, and then he doesn't do parenting. He just gets mad at his kids for doing shit, and he's like, a father protects. Well, maybe also father parents sometimes and talks to his kids like normally. And they all speak to him like, yes sir, no sir. Come on.
Let's say, so while the story wasn't that impressive, the visual starts to be really impressive when they actually go into the water of this film. Like it really feels like the quality of the visuals in this film really changes than when they are in the water, because that is kind of where the film becomes really darn beautiful.
Yeah, I think these are the moments you kind of start forgetting that it's CGI. It just feels so real.
Yeah, there's one point in one of the ending scenes in this film where there's a lot of well, when do you know when the boat is sinking and there's kind of a lot of particles in there's a lot of
No, you were correct. Just these particles in the water.
Yeah, and that scene stands so really out when there's all these different elements all at once in 3D, and you're kind of just looking around, and yeah, that scene stood out a bit.
Yeah. So if you're watching this movie in 3D, you're in for kind of a treat, actually.
Yeah, I honestly don't understand why you should watch this without 3D, because this film is really made for 3D.
Yeah, there's not much in the story, so you should just appreciate the visuals.
Yeah, that's kind of it. So, I guess we have gone through all the films now. Actually, do you want to say a last thing about the Avatar? If you would give it 1 out of 10.
You know what? Visuals, 9 out of 10. Story, 5 out of 10. 4 out of 10.
I'm going to give it a 5.
It's not bad.
Or maybe,
it's bare bones.
Or maybe a 6, because even though the story was weird, it was still kind of like that weirdness kind of was fun to see in some way.
Yeah, it kind of just gave a reason for a lot of action scenes.
Oh, right. One of the major scenes also in this film is the story about a whale.
Yeah, and James Cameron was very specific to say that this is not a whale, this is something else. Why are you being weird? This is not a whale.
Yeah, I saw that in an interview once, that it pointed out this is not a whale. When if you watch the film, like it is very much supposed to be a whale.
Yeah, it's like a very like a super intelligent mammal who sings, and there's whalers killing it for oil. But I don't know. Do you see the similarities?
No, not at all. Well, anyway, so this is the end of part 1. I also just wanted to say one thing that I found out yesterday while doing this slide is that in Triangle of Sadness, the girl that played Jahzzar, Sherby Dean, I found out unfortunately that she apparently passed away after Triangle of Sadness premiered.
Oh, whoa. Okay, that's terrible.
She was apparently 32 years old, and she died of some kind of bacteria, if I understood it correctly.
Yeah, that is a great loss for us, because I would see more movies with her. She was great.
So I just wanted to point that out as a kind of a tragic event, I guess, and yeah, it's kind of just sad to see someone
that young die.
Yeah, 32 years old. Yeah,
that's like my brother age.
Loss. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's give our condolences to the actor and her family and people that she loved, and let's say thank you that we could see her her act
in this
great movie. Well, what is with us with words today? I don't understand this.
I don't know, but we have another episode to go through. So, yeah, but with that, see you in the next episode and have a wonderful day. Goodbye.
Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.